The moment we entered Death Valley, we knew we were in for a treat. An enormous expanse of valley surrounded by majestic peaks greeted us. Over the course of 3 days, we traveled from Dante's View to Badwater Basin to Furnace Creek, Zabriskie's Point, Hebe Crater, and Mesquite Flat sand dunes. And what we found was... Hi and welcome back to the channel. No, I didn't actually see R2, but while I was editing this video, I did find out that part of Star Wars was filmed in Death Valley. And I thought, no, I was going to make a big National Geographic-like thing. I was going to because it's so gorgeous there. It's absolutely so incredibly beautiful. And I thought, okay, I got to stop making these weird, quirky videos, and I need to just make it cinematic and everything. And then I found out that Star Wars filmed some of their pickup scenes in Death Valley. I thought, no, I gotta do that. There are 5 places inside the park that were used in the filming of the original Star Wars. We went to 4 of those places. I'm gonna show you those places and show you where they are in the film as well. So stay tuned. Okay, so here's the scoop. Death Valley has actually been the location for a lot of Hollywood movies. But for us, right now, Star Wars is the only one that matters. There are at least 4 to 5 locations where the Star Wars team did what are called pickup shots for the original Star Wars, A New Hope. They are Mesquite Flat Sand Dunes, Artist Drive, Golden Canyon, Dante's View, and Badwater Basin. Let's start with Mesquite Flat Sand Dunes. If you're a Star Wars fan, you know that the actors and crew filmed the bulk of the Tatooine shots in Tunisia. That is a long way to go for additional footage if you miss something. Fortunately for them, Death Valley came to the rescue. With its stark landscape and colorful cliffs, it looks just like it's on another planet. So the crew and some of the cast, notably R2-D2 and C-3PO, packed up and headed for Death Valley National Park. The Mesquite Flat Sand Dunes sit about 28 miles from the Furnace Creek Visitor Center. So it is a little weird to see this much fine sand where there is no ocean, right? But according to the National Park Service website, all you need to have sand dunes is a source for the sand, wind, and a place for the sand to collect. In this area of the park, you have all 3. Plenty of sand from the eroding mountains around them, lots and lots of wind, and several places like this one where the sand collects. And this very shot right here is where little R2 headed up over the dunes of Tatooine alone when C-3PO refused to go with him. How cool is that Derek got to walk where R2 rolled?
Next up is Artist Drive. This 9-mile loop is paved and fun to drive. It's one-way and twisty-turny. But don't bring your big rig. There's a 25-foot vehicle limit, and for good reason. Partway up the loop, you come to an area named Artist's Palette. It's a stunning set of cliffs of many colors caused by volcanic reactions and chemical changes that occurred a really long time ago. The colors are incredible and the rock formations are really otherworldly. And speaking of otherworldly, what's this place got to do with Star Wars? Right over there is where R2 rolled on his way to find Obi-Wan to deliver the message from Princess Leia. After Artist Palette, we continued our drive to Badwater Basin, the lowest point in all of North America, 282 feet below sea level. That means if you could see the ocean right next to Badwater Basin, the ocean would tower 282 feet above the ground. That's enough to scare a Wookiee.
The white stuff all over the ground here are salt crystals. Look how amazing they look really close up. So where did this place come from? Another really long time ago, this whole area was a huge body of water, 100 miles long and 600 feet deep. Now, if you're doing the math, that means that in addition to the 282 feet needed to bring it to sea level, the water would have been 318 feet higher than that, about the height of a 55-story building. We'll get to the Star Wars connection to this place in just a minute. Okay, so if you're ready, let's go up over 1 mile above Badwater Basin to Dante's View. This spot is spine-tinglingly scary and gorgeous all at once. And from this spot, you can look down over a mile to Badwater Basin and see
Moss Eisley Spaceport. You will never find a more wretched hive of scum and villainy. We must be cautious.
Yes, restless adventurers, Badwater Basin in Death Valley is the site of Moss Eisley. Well, not really, but when they edited the movie, they used a shot from Dante's View as the location Ben Kenobi showed Luke. Luke and Ben shot their part in Tunisia, and then Dante's View was added in, and it became a wretched hive of scum and villainy. Actually, it's just tourists now, but it's very cool that you can come to the same spot that you see in the movie. The park itself is huge. In fact, it's the largest national park outside of Alaska. It is about 141 miles long and 5 to 15 miles wide. It's roughly twice the size of the state of Delaware. There are a couple of other places we want to show you. They weren't in the movie as far as we know, but we went to them and so they're in our movie. First up is Mormon Point. When we saw this place on the map, we thought, well, we have to go see that. Starting at the sign and work our way around, and there's that. I don't know what that means. And then this is out onto the big salty area, which I guess maybe sort of looks like the Bonneville Salt Flats. I don't know. But there's some reason that this is called Mormon Point. Turns out there's not much there. We ran into a local that told us it had something to do with the early explorers in the area and members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Remember, Mormon is just a nickname we no longer use. There doesn't seem to be a very good explanation for the name, but there were really cool rock formations there and it had a sign. So we took our pictures and headed back.
Finally, we drove 56 miles past Furnace Creek Visitor Center to Hebe Crater.
Did you say Ubi Phoebe?
No, Phoebe. Hebe. How the crater got its name is not clear. However, the local Timbasa Shoshone name for the crater means coyote's basket. The crater is volcanic in nature, but it's different from the volcanic eruptions we often hear about. This is a Mar crater. A Mar crater occurs when hot magma under the earth heats up the groundwater and turns it into steam. The steam has no way to escape and builds up pressure until there is so much pressure that it explodes. The explosion releases the steam, but also blasts the rock and dirt around it way up into the air in a gigantic explosion. Mar explosions left this crater and several others in the area. This crater is a half-mile across and 600 feet deep. Hebe Crater was really incredible to see and learn about. And not only does Death Valley have interesting places, it holds a couple of world records. Remember we mentioned that Badwater Basin was the lowest point in North America? Well, Death Valley is also the driest place in North America, and it's one of the hottest places on Earth. It holds 2 world records for heat, both set at Furnace Creek near the Visitor Center. The hottest air temperature of 134 degrees was recorded on July 10, 1913, and the hottest surface temperature of 201 degrees was recorded on July 15, 1972. So make sure you have plenty of water when you visit the park.
That was such a great visit.
It was a good adventure.
What a great national park, Death Valley. We have so many wonderful national parks in this country, and we have not visited really an awfully lot of them. But the ones that we've been to have been completely amazing, and Death Valley did not disappoint. So the Star Wars aspect of the park is really a lot of fun, and we mentioned that there were 5 places in the park that were used for pickup shots, and that means that those are shots that they got to the editing room and go, oh wait, we need this, and so they'd go back. And they didn't want to go all the way back to Tunisia, so they filmed everything in Death Valley. We went to 4 of those places. The 5th one was Golden Canyon.
And we drove by it a couple times. and the parking lot was always really full. And we thought, well, maybe we'd stop, but the parking lot's full.
It was
And,
packed.
and then we thought, why are there so many people in this parking lot?
It's like, then we found out that it was one of the major places where Star Wars filmed those shots. R2-D2, C-3PO, the Sand People. There was all kinds of stuff. I'll link a couple of videos below that talk about more specifically, but we never went into Golden Canyon. So we really have no footage other than our dash cam going, here you go, there you go, that way. It's over there. That's all we got. That's all we got. What did you find? What was most surprising about Death Valley to you?
Well, it's so diverse. I was expecting it was just like going to be hot and dry and basically the one thing. But there's really a lot of different diversity. There's mountains, there's sand dunes, there's the salt crystals, there's all these different places. The crater that we went to, didn't even have an idea that was there. And then if you look at the history, and we really didn't talk about the history too much at all, but it was very diverse, from mining to swindling to all sorts of different things going on there. It was sort of interesting to learn about that too.
I invite you to click on the links that we're going to put in the description and read up on the history before you go and just enjoy it. It was an amazing, amazing place.
Pretty neat.
Yeah, it really was. I think for me personally, in addition to the just an amazing beauty, it was so beautiful, way more vast than I expected. It's an enormous park. It's huge. It is the largest national park in the lower 48 states. And like Derek said, it's a place of incredible, amazing diversity and just incredible beauty. And we would strongly suggest that you go see it. Take your family. Just be careful if you go after April. May,
it gets really hot.
May to
really hot.
September, May to August. We mentioned in the video the records were set in July, so that's a very, very difficult time. There are campgrounds. In fact, there's 12 campgrounds inside the park. Furnace Creek is open year-round, and there are actually 9 that are owned by the National Park Service, 3 that are privately owned. So look at recreation.gov for that information, for as far as reservations or whether they're first come, first serve. It just depends on which park you're looking, which campground you're looking at. Yeah. So with that, I think we'll let you go. We've got more adventures coming up, so stay with us. Make sure you like this video, give us a thumbs up.
And please click to subscribe.
Absolutely, and ring the bell to be notified when we drop a new video. So until next time, Restless Adventurers, you take care.
Bye.
I know it's Ubi Phoebe.